Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. My name is Cassandra and today we're doing a yoga stretch for cyclists. So let's begin in a wide-legged child's pose. Big toes are touching, knees are wide apart, walking your palms forward until the forehead comes down either on the mat or onto stacked palms or maybe on a block. I won't be using any props for this practice, but if you know that you're tight in your quads, glutes, or hamstrings, you might want to have a block and a strap close by. And from this child's pose, connect to your breath by inhaling and exhaling through the nose and feeling the breath travel all the way down into the belly and pelvic floor. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the jaw. And let your hips go a little bit closer towards the heels. Start to walk your palms back in to lift the upper body up. Bring your knees hip-width distance apart and we'll take reclined hero pose. So start to sit the hips back down towards the heels. Walk your palms behind you. Keep the lower back nice and flat as you walk your palms back and maybe lower down onto the forearms. So we're trying to get a little bit of a stretch into the quads here. If you lower down too much, you'll start to feel a pinching in the lower back, which is something we want to avoid. So if that's the case, just stay up on the palms. Try to keep your knees down on the mat. Stay here for another 5 deep belly breaths. I like to keep the chin tucked in towards the chest here to protect the back of the neck. And you're trying to reach your tailbone towards the knees to help flatten out the lower back and keep the pelvis neutral, so there's no pressure or compression on the lower back. If you're on your forearms, lift yourself back up onto the palms, and let's make our way to hands and knees, taking a few rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and then exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Take a few more, go at your own pace. Try not to bend the elbows. Get an opening at the chest. Come back to center. Reach your right leg up, keep that knee bent so you're kicking your heel up towards the sky, and then your left palm is going to reach for the right foot as you kick that foot into the hand, tiger pose. Keep your gaze steady. Lift the knee up a tiny bit higher and release. Switching sides, reach your left heel up towards the sky, find your balance, and then reach back to catch your foot with your right palm. Kick that foot into the hand to lift the knee a little bit more. And release your knees back down. Walk your palms a few inches forward, curl your toes under and lift the hips in downward facing dog. And bend your knees quite a bit here so that you're lengthening the spine, creating space at the chest, lifting tailbone up towards the sky. And let's paddle the feet from here. Keep your right leg straight but bend into your left knee so your right heel will get a little bit closer to the mat. And switch. Switch once more. And bend the right knee, straighten the left leg. Come back to your regular downward facing dog and walk your palms all the way to the back of the mat, taking a ragdoll fold, holding on to opposite elbows, maybe swaying from side to side. Bend your knees as much as you're required to here. So we are starting to straighten out the hamstrings, but you don't want to be locking the joints. Bend your knees a lot and roll all the way up to stand. So at the back of the mat, cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Bend into your left knee as you sink your hips down low, standing pigeon pose. Hips go back, chest reaches forward. Keep your right foot firmly flexed here, and then fingertips will come all the way down on the ground. Take deep breaths into that right hip. So these muscles can get really tight from cycling. Bring your palms back to your chest and lift all the way back up. And let's take a twist, so squeeze your knee in towards your chest and catch it with your left palm as you reach your right arm out to the side. So your shoulders and chest are facing the long edge of your mat, while your hips are still squared to the front. Let's release and switch sides. Cross your left ankle over the right knee, bend into that right knee to drop the hips and lean the chest forward. Fingertips going down towards the mat. So a nice deep stretch on the side. You really don't need to bend your right knee too much here. Bring the hands to the heart and lift back up. Taking a twist, hold on to your left knee with your right hand and extend your left arm back. So feel that left shoulder roll back. Hips are still squared forward. Come back to center and fold all the way down. Walking your palms back into your downward facing dog, lifting the hips, pressing into the heels. Relax your neck. Ripple forward through to your plank pose, shoulders over the wrists. Hold here, tailbone reaching towards the heels, firm up the belly. And let's bring our right knee in towards the nose, round the upper back, look forward and step your right foot in between the palms, drop your left knee down. So finding a low lunge here, reaching the arms up, biceps along the ears. So deep opening through your left hip flexors. This is a really great stretch for cyclists. And we'll get a little bit deeper into the quads. Lower your left palm down on the mat and then catch your back foot with your right hand. So at this point you might want to use a strap. Otherwise just keep your hand on the foot. Focus on sinking the hips down and pulling that heel in a little bit closer, rolling your right shoulder back. Look down, release your back foot, plant your palms. Lift your back knee off the mat and toe heel your right foot over to the edge of the mat, so lizard pose. Turn your right toes up and then turn that foot out so that the knee presses open towards the right side of your mat. And if you want to go deeper, you can lower onto your forearms. It's up to you if you want to keep your back knee lifted or lowered on the mat. I'm keeping it lifted to work a little bit more on strength. So deep stretch into the inner groin. Let's come back up onto the palms. Step back into your plank pose. Firm up the belly once more. Strong in the shoulders and in the arms. Keep your gaze steady and then bring your left knee in towards your chest, maybe touching the knee to nose. Look forward, step that left foot in between the hands, drop your back knee down and lift the arms and the body up for your low lunge. Make sure that your left knee is not going past the ankle here. At most you're at a 90-degree angle. Inviting the hips to drop down a little bit more without sticking the upper ribs out or tilting the pelvis forward. Go into your quad stretch, right palm down, left hand reaches for your right foot as you draw that heel in towards the glutes. Keep leaning on your right hand so that you can roll your left shoulder back and twist a little bit more. Navel hugs in towards the spine. Release your back foot, curl your toes under to lift the back knee, and take lizard pose. So both palms to the inside of the leg, lift your left toes up and start to turn and roll that left hip, knee, and ankle over to the left. Maybe coming down on your forearms if you'd like. The tendency here is to round the upper back. See if you can keep your heart reaching forward. Your arms and shoulders are there to hold you in the pose and help you stabilize, but they shouldn't be pushing you against the pose or tensing up too much. Come back up onto your palms and step back to plank pose. Exhale to your downward dog. Hips go up and back. Let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. Bend your right knee and open up that hip, engaging the glutes as you do so. Straighten your right leg and then step that right foot forward in between the hands to the top of the mat. Come up into a high lunge this time. So back knee is lifted, biceps along the ears. Bend into your right knee a little bit more. Keep the lower belly in. Let's bring our hands on our waist, look forward, and step to the top of the mat. Maybe catching your left foot with your left palm. Reach your right arm forward, coming into dancer's pose. Keep your hips squared, and you don't want to be tilting your chest forward too much. Try to stay upright here. Still standing, release dancer's pose. Squeeze your left knee in towards the chest. Grow a little bit taller. Bring your hands on your waist. Step back into your high lunge. Hands drop down to the mat. Downward facing dog. Switching sides. Left leg extends up. Bend your left knee. Open up that hip. Keep your left shoulder pressing down. Straighten your left leg and then carefully step your left foot forward in between the hands, finding a high lunge on the second side. Back heel is lifted. Shoulder blades squeeze a little bit behind you. Make sure your gaze is steady. Find something to focus on to help you balance. And then bring your hands on your waist, step to the top of the mat and find dancer's pose, catching your right foot with your right palm, reaching your left arm forward, and then kick your right foot into your hand to help the knee lift a little bit more. And you will need to engage the glutes and the hamstrings here. Try not to lean the chest, keep it lifted. Release dancer's pose, squeeze your right knee in towards the chest. Bring your hands to your waist, step back into your high lunge. Palms will lower down on the mat as you find downward facing dog. Take a flow from here. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower down onto your belly. And then stay here. Grab a hold of your right foot with your right palm. Take a quad stretch. So you might want to make a little pillow here with your left hand. Take a good 5 deep breaths here. Keep reaching your tailbone towards the back of your mat. Knees are hip width distance apart. And we'll be focusing a little bit more on stretching here rather than strengthening. Release your right foot and switch sides. Grabbing a hold of your left foot this time and pulling it in close. Let go of your left foot. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders, and as you inhale, come up into cobra. So keep the elbows bent and hugging in towards the sides of the ribs. Hips are still down on the mat, shoulders rolling down and away from the ears. You're using both arm strength and back strength here. And you don't need to come up as high as what I'm doing. You can stay lower to the ground. Let's lower down with control and then press back onto hands and knees. Finding pigeon pose, right knee goes behind your right wrist, left leg extends back behind you as you fold all the way down. Keep your weight centered here so you're not leaning on your right thigh more than the left. And you want to use your arms as little as possible here. Let gravity do the work for you. Maybe slow down your breathing. Notice if it has become short or shallow. Lift the upper body back up. And let's find our way back through to tabletop pose. Switching sides, left knee behind the left wrist, right leg reaches back behind you. Square off the hips, get settled, and then fold forward. Notice if you're holding on to tension in the jaw or the neck. Invite it to soften and release. Direct the breath all the way down into that left hip. Lift the upper body back up, curl the back toes under, finding tabletop pose once more, and we'll come to seated, legs out in front of you. Soles of the feet come together, knees fall apart, butterfly fold. As you inhale, lift the crown of the head up, and on the exhale, fold forward. Arms reaching out in front of you. Let the back round here, neck relax, head is heavy. Three more breaths right here in this pose. Lift back up. Straighten your legs out in front of you. We'll take a straight-legged forward fold right here. So once you're settled, crawl your palms back out and fold. Feel free to bend your knees a little bit in this pose. You want to make sure that you're not hyperextending or locking the joints. Resist the urge to push or pull. Once again, we want to see if we can let gravity do the work for us. Minimal effort required. Lift yourself back up slowly and roll all the way down to lay onto your back. Let's Let's bring our right knee in towards the chest into a twist. So draw your right knee across the body over to the left. You can use your left hand to lightly press it down as you extend your right arm out to the side. Keep your right shoulder on the mat. Come back to center and switch sides. Left knee in, right leg out, and cross your left knee over towards the right side of your body. Reach your left arm out. Maybe inviting the eyes to close. Come back through to center and find Shavasana, your final resting pose. So straighten out the legs, take up some space with the arms, palms facing up towards the sky. Shrug your shoulders away from the ears, and enjoy these last few moments of complete relaxation. Coming back to whatever breath is natural to you, and focusing on relaxing and releasing any part of your body that still feels tense. I invite you to stay here for a few more minutes or however long is appropriate for you. When you're ready to get on with your day, I hope that you will do so slowly and mindfully. Hopefully you'll have found this practice beneficial. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe to my channel. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you again for watching. Namaste.